First story: The Vanishing Lights of Echo Park. I moved to Los Angeles 2 years ago, hoping the city would offer me the opportunities that seemed to slip away from everyone else. The city was fast-paced, noisy, and its bright lights always hid something darker underneath. I found a small apartment near Echo Park, a place where the city's pulse seemed to slow down at night. The park was beautiful, yet strange, especially by the lake. At night, the water glimmered under the pale glow of streetlights, but it never felt entirely peaceful. There was a sense of something lurking beneath, waiting. It all started one Friday evening. I had just finished a late shift at the coffee shop and was walking home, the night air thick with the distant hum of the city. As I passed the park, I noticed a figure standing by the water. She was a young woman, long dark hair cascading down her back, her dress old-fashioned, almost like something from the 1950s. She was standing completely still, staring out across the water, as if waiting for something or someone. I called out to her, thinking she might need help, but she didn't move. I was about to turn away when I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I realized something. Her reflection wasn't in the water. It was as if she wasn't even there at all. I glanced over my shoulder, the quiet street empty behind me. When I looked back, she was gone. I scanned the area, but saw nothing. It was as though she had disappeared into thin air. I told my roommate, Chris, about what happened the next morning. He laughed, shrugging it off as a figment of my imagination. But that night, as I was walking home again, I saw her once more. This time, she was closer to my building, standing under a flickering streetlight that buzzed like it was struggling against some unseen force. I could feel my stomach churn. My breath caught in my throat. I didn't sleep that night. Every little noise in the building made my heart race. It wasn't until the next morning, when I went outside to grab the mail, that I saw it. The same girl, standing by the park gate. Her eyes never left me, and there was a twisted, knowing smile on her face that made the blood in my veins freeze. A week passed, and I stopped seeing her. I convinced myself that I was just tired, overwhelmed by the city's chaos, and maybe I was imagining things. But then Chris disappeared. I came home one evening to find the apartment empty, his phone still on the kitchen counter, his keys in the bowl by the door. There was no sign of struggle, but the front door was wide open. I checked his room, but it was as if he had just vanished. The bed was untouched, and the only thing out of place was a single wet footprint on the floor, leading from the hallway to his bedroom door. I tried calling him, but his phone went straight to voicemail. The police didn't seem concerned. "It's a big city. People leave all the time," they told me. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was horribly wrong. I knew he wouldn't just leave without a word, not like that. Something had happened to him. I spent hours combing through his room searching for any clue. That's when I found his journal hidden under his bed. The last entry sent chills down my spine. I saw her again. She was standing outside my window. She smiled at me, and this time I swear she knew my name. I couldn't stop thinking about those words. What had happened to him? Who was she? That night, I locked all the doors and windows, hoping for some peace. I stayed up, staring at the empty apartment, waiting for something, anything, to happen. But by 3 a.m, I heard it. The sound of water dripping. Slowly, rhythmically, like someone was tapping it against the floor. My heart raced. I followed the sound to the bathroom where the faucet was turned off, but water was pooling around my feet. The air smelled thick like wet earth and something else, something metallic. Then I saw it, long, dark strands of hair clinging to the bathroom mirror. My reflection seemed off. It was blurry, like the glass was fogged up. But as I wiped it away, I saw her face in the reflection, smiling. I spun around, my breath caught in my throat, but the bathroom was empty. I turned back to the mirror, and there she was again, right behind me, her smile twisted, eyes wide open in an unblinking stare. I tried to scream, but the words wouldn't come. The sound of water dripping grew louder, and then I heard footsteps, soft, almost imperceptible, but they were getting closer. I ran out of the apartment, never looking back. I grabbed only my phone and ran down the stairs, not caring about anything else. I don't know what happened to Chris, and I don't want to know. I couldn't stay in Los Angeles any longer. But sometimes, late at night, when I'm alone in bed, I hear the sound of water dripping. the sound of footsteps following me. And I know she's still out there, waiting, watching. Her smile never fades. Second story. Whispers from the hills. I still remember the day I moved to Los Angeles like it was yesterday. The city, full of neon lights, endless streets, and the kind of energy that pulls you in whether you like it or not. I had just gotten out of a bad relationship, and I needed a fresh start, something to wash away the past. Little did I know, this city wasn't going to give me the peace I thought I needed. It was going to drag me into something darker, something I couldn't escape. It all started one evening when I took a hike up into the nearby hills. I had been reading about the haunted spots around LA, and curiosity had gotten the better of me. People spoke of strange happenings in those hills, of voices calling out in the dark, and inexplicable events that would drive anyone sane to madness. I thought it was just superstition. Who wouldn't? As I ascended the trail, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. I'd turn around, but there was never anyone there. I tried to brush it off, just nerves, nothing more. But the deeper I went, the more I felt it. The air grew thick, heavy, and every step I took seemed to echo louder, like the hills themselves were alive, listening. I decided to stop at a small, secluded clearing to catch my breath. That's when I heard it. A voice, faint, barely a whisper at first. It sounded like a woman, calling my name. Sarah. I froze. No one knew I was out here, so how could anyone know my name? Sarah, help me. The voice was softer this time, almost pleading. I stood there for what felt like hours, too terrified to move. But something inside me, the same reckless curiosity that led me to hike these hills in the first place, pushed me forward. I walked deeper into the clearing, the voice guiding me, and before I knew it, I was standing in front of what looked like an old, abandoned house. The windows were boarded up, and the paint was peeling off in chunks. But there was something about it that felt familiar, like I had seen it in a dream. I stepped closer, the air colder now, as if the house itself exhaled a chilling breath. Then the door creaked open on its own. "Come inside," the voice said again, more insistent this time. I don't know what compelled me, but I stepped into the house. The moment I crossed the threshold, I felt a sharp sting at the back of my neck, as if something invisible had brushed against me. The door slammed shut behind me. The inside was just as decayed as the outside, dust and cobwebs in every corner, and the stench of rot hanging in the air. But there was something else. I could hear faint murmurs, like a crowd of people whispering just out of sight. I spun around, but there was no one there. Only shadows. And the walls, they seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting like they were alive. "Why are you here?" a voice asked, low and gravelly from the farthest corner of the room. I turned sharply, my heart racing. Standing in the shadows was a man, tall, thin, with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce straight through me. "Who are you?" I managed to stammer. He didn't answer right away. Instead, his lips curled into a twisted grin, and his hand reached out, beckoning me closer. "Come closer, Sarah," he said, his voice now echoing in my ears. "It's time you learned the truth." My legs moved before I could stop them, my body betraying my fear. As I neared him, the whispers grew louder, more frantic, as though they were trying to warn me. But it was too late. I reached out, and as soon as my fingers brushed his hand, everything went black. When I woke up, I was outside again, lying in the same clearing where I had first heard the voice. The house was gone, as if it had never existed. The trail was silent, no sign of anyone, not even the whispers. I thought maybe I had just imagined it all, some sort of heat-induced hallucination. But there was something wrong. I could feel it. Something had followed me back. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. I'd see figures in the corner of my vision, hear whispers in empty rooms, but every time I turned around, nothing would be there. It was like the man in the hills had come back with me, and he wasn't alone. The whispers were constant, inescapable. One night I decided to confront it. I sat in my living room, the lights dimmed, the silence oppressive, and that's when it came, just like before, that voice, soft and desperate. "Sarah, help me." But this time, the voice wasn't coming from outside. It was inside my head. I clutched my temples, trying to block it out, but it only got louder. "Help us," the voice whispered, growing stronger, clearer. "We never left, and neither will you." I could feel them then, The cold, the presence, the suffocating weight of whatever it was that had followed me back from the hills. It was too late. I was already trapped. Now, as I sit here, I can't escape it. The whispers have become my reality. I'm not sure who or what is still with me, whether it's the people who died in that house or something far worse. But I do know this. Once you hear the whispers, you can never leave. They'll find you. They'll follow you. And now, they're coming for you too. Dear viewers, before we start the next horror story, I want to say, if you wish, you can support this YouTube channel financially through the details on the screen or in the description below the video. Thank you for your attention. Third story. The Echoes of El Serpiente. It was late. The kind of late where even the streets of Los Angeles seemed deserted, silent, like a forgotten world. I had just wrapped up a long shift at the coffee shop in downtown LA, the type of night where the stars didn't seem to shine as bright, and the air felt thick with something I couldn't name. I was exhausted. The streets were empty, save for the occasional car rushing by. I had this strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I brushed it off, telling myself it was just the paranoia from working night shifts. I took my usual route down 7th Street, heading to my car, parked near the old factory district, an area that had been deserted for years. It was eerie, like a ghost town, and the darkness made it feel like something sinister was lurking just out of sight. The flickering streetlights above me cast long shadows on the cracked pavement. That's when I heard it. A soft sound, almost like a whisper. But it didn't come from any direction I could pinpoint. It came from everywhere. The walls, the ground, the air. My heart started pounding, but I couldn't bring myself to move faster. I felt frozen. Then I heard it clearer, a voice. No, a hiss, like a serpent speaking my name. Emily. I whipped around, my breath catching in my throat, but no one was there. The alley was as empty as before. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a text from Rachel, my roommate. Are you coming home soon? It's really late, I'm worried. I texted back quickly, telling her I was on my way, but my hands were shaking as I slid my phone back into my pocket. Something wasn't right. That voice, that hiss, it wasn't just in my head. I could feel it, deep in my bones. I walked faster now, trying to shake off the feeling of being followed. But with every step, the whispers grew louder. The walls of the factory district were covered in peeling paint and rust, and the air smelled stale, like something had been left to rot for years. I turned the corner onto Broadway, where the factory buildings loomed over me, towering like silent giants. That's when I saw him. A man standing at the far end of the street, his silhouette barely visible in the dim light. He was tall, too tall. His face was hidden in shadows, but I could see the strange, unnatural way he moved. Like he wasn't walking, but gliding. A part of me told me to run, but my legs felt like lead. The whispers were growing louder now, swirling around me like a storm, filling my head with that same hissing voice. Come closer, Emily. I couldn't move. I wanted to scream, but my voice wouldn't come. The man, if that's even what he was, took a step forward, and the air grew colder. A chill that burned, deep down in my soul. He raised his head, and I saw his face. It wasn't a face at all. It was smooth, like glass, with no features, no eyes, no mouth. Just an empty, hollow space. The whispers grew frantic, urgent. You have to listen, Emily. You can't leave. I turned and ran, heart pounding in my chest, but no matter how fast I moved, the sound of his footsteps echoed in my mind. He wasn't chasing me. He was everywhere, behind me, beside me, in front of me. I reached the end of the block, my car finally in sight. I was almost there. That's when the ground beneath me cracked open. I screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the darkness. The earth split, revealing a hole that seemed to stretch forever, and from the depths came the whispers, louder, clearer. El Serpiente. It was the name of the thing that had been stalking me, the thing I had never heard of until now. It wasn't a man. It was a creature, ancient and twisted, something that had been waiting for someone like me to stumble into its grasp. I could feel its presence closing in, surrounding me, as the shadows reached out with tendrils that pulled me down. I fought, but it was useless. The whispers filled my mind, drowning out my thoughts. I felt the cold, slippery touch of the darkness as it wrapped around me, pulling me closer to the hole. I knew I wouldn't make it out. As I was pulled into the void, I saw his face one last time. Those hollow eyes staring at me. the whispers turning into a single, chilling hiss, "You are mine." And then, silence. The next morning, they found my car on the corner of Broadway and 7th, abandoned. No sign of me. Just the faint, distant sound of whispers in the wind. If you ever find yourself in the factory district in the dead of night and you hear the hiss of a name, don't look. Just run. Run as fast as you can, because El Serpiente doesn't let go. It never lets go.